Just like with the Ochre Crown, Swanky made a gorgeous custom player model for this origin. I've been sitting on it for literal years now, because he made it when I first made the Ochre Crown, and I'm very excited to finally be able to share it with you all. You'll of course see more of it throughout the rest of the video, but I just wanted to show it off at the start because it's adorable. I love it so much. Please go show him some love. I'll also talk a tiny bit more about the model at the end, but for now let's just go over the origin itself. So the Verdant Crown is based around a system of restraining groups of mobs. Your main way of restraining mobs is the HLSC, or the Hard Light Safety Cannon. So to use this, you just hold primary, and it takes a while to charge, and you're also a bit vulnerable while charging. But once it's done, you can see the outlines of all possible targets, and from here you just hover over an entity and let go, and that restrains them. Now you'll see that restraint, which makes them green and chop through walls, also spreads to the other mobs. So restraint makes it so that mobs will deal 50% less damage, but they'll also take 50% less damage. And they're slowed and grouped together, as you can see. So if there's a group of restrained mobs, they'll cluster up. Now you can also see those beams are connecting to me as well. So that's because I'm a Verdant Crown. And restrained mobs can't just be left on their own. They need to be connected to a Verdant Crown. So if I walk away, I'm no longer in range of those beams. They're no longer restrained. Now, you can't really control which mobs restraint spreads to, which could be mighty inconvenient if you're traveling with a friend or a pet that you don't want to accidentally restrain every time you try to restrain something else. So that's where sanctions come in. If you're sneaking when you begin holding down your primary key, instead of charging the HLSC, you'll enter this sanction visor, and from here you can just right-click on a mob to sanction it. Now, if I restrain the other pigs, you'll see it'll spread to all of the pigs except for the one that I've sanctioned. Now, you can't sanction a mob that's already restrained. You have to wait until they're not restrained to sanction them. And the only way to remove a sanction is by using a direct hit from the HLSC. So to restore hunger with this origin, you can't just eat normal food. The stack doesn't work. You instead need to draw energy from surrounding restrained mobs. You'll also notice that as I charge the cannon, it takes a significant amount of hunger. But you'll see whenever that line of energy connects to me, I'll get a little bit of food and a little bit of saturation. Now if I just let this build up, you'll also see that since it gives me so much saturation, you heal really quickly when you're around restrained mobs. And to counter that, there are some debuffs, some, negatives related to the state of your food with this origin. So when you're at full hunger, and that's ignoring saturation, just your hunger bars, when you're at full hunger, you will deal 25% less damage. So this should be dealing 8 damage, but you can see it's only doing 6 because we're at full hunger. If I get rid of some of my hunger, we'll see that when you're not at full hunger, so anything below this, even at the moment, right now, right, half a shank below max, you won't be able to be healed at all. So that healing potion doesn't do anything. You can only be healed if your hunger is completely full. And when your hunger is not completely full, again, you don't have that damage debuff, so you do deal the full 8 damage. So it's just less damage when you have full hunger, can't heal when you have below full hunger. The final big feature I'm going to go over is the restraint drones. So earlier I mentioned when talking about restraint that mobs need to have a Verdant Crown nearby in order to stay restrained. But you can also use drones for this. If you use your secondary, you can consume a fair bit of hunger to summon an empty drone. And these are a lot easier to see without shaders, but in this state they don't actually do anything. To charge them, you need 160 experience, which is 10 levels, and you just hit them with the HLSC. And now they're charged. Again, way easier to see without shaders. But now that they're charged, if I restrain these pigs, normally if I then just walked away, they wouldn't be restrained anymore because they need a Verdant Crown nearby, but with that drone, it's keeping them restrained. To deactivate them, you just have to sanction them again, and you get your 10 levels back. Again, you can see now there's no active drone. They weren't restrained anymore. If a charged drone takes any damage, you'll only get 80 experience back instead of the full 160. The Origin does have a few other features that I'm not going to go over in this video, because I personally think it's kind of fun to discover some stuff while you're playing. But I will mention that it has an interaction with the Ochre Crown. So if you make sure you're using the latest Ochre Crown update, you can gain access to a new and fairly powerful type of drone. Now, some of you may have noticed that throughout this video, I've been a fair bit taller than the average player. And this has nothing to do with the Origin, this is just from the player model. You can see by default, the hitbox is quite a bit smaller than the model because it's just taller than normal players. And in chat, you can see CPM is complaining that scaling settings were blocked. Now, if you want to fix this and make the hitbox match the model size, you have to be opt, but on your server or single player world, just do /CPM, scaling, hitbox height, enabled true, and then the same command for eye height. And now it all matches up. Like I said earlier, if you have any feedback at all, is it underpowered, overpowered? Is it something you want me to add? Please let me know in the comments. I read all of them, and I'm very much open to updating this one in the future. Thank you.